Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another Starcraft Remastered replay cast for you. As once again I'm having a very interesting engagement here in between the two pro players. So let me just start once again by introducing the players to you guys as we have spawned here in the upper right in the tier. It is CHEAREATOR as the Terran, and his opponent spawning here in the lower left in the orange. It is KELEGG TvZ with a very late actually move out here with his overlord. Perhaps he was away from his keyboard. So yeah, let's have a look what exactly is going to happen here on a very beautiful sandy map, a 4 spawning location map. Very soon, just like in the previous replays here onto this channel, we're going to be checking out their build orders. So yeah, perhaps the Zerg being a little bit off guard here, being a little bit off his keyboard. Let's see what exactly his build order is going to be, as it looks like he's going to save up for something. But hold on, we actually do have a very early move out here by the Terran with 2 SCVs. So this is actually something you usually see in Starcraft 2, but this time CHEAREATOR tries something very fishy here, and sadly here for the Zerg his overlord is moving out into the wrong direction. So we might see a cheesy gameplay, we might see a double barracks into this location. Let's see if this is indeed the plan from the Terran. So very far out barracks for him, and we don't see a, actually I don't see a supply depot. There is his supply depot. So barracks first into supply depot as he's checking out now the proximity from the map. Let's have a look at the Zerg very quick. This should be his spawning pool. So spawning pool first for him, overload into spawning pool actually, and now he's actually also taking his gas. So very interesting open up here for the Terran. I believe he's going to try a rush with some marines, with some SCV, perhaps with a bunker in the front. Let's see if this is indeed going to be his plan, as he's also going for his gas. Notice that he's not making any SCVs, he's only staying at 9 SCVs. Now just slowly but steadily opting to go for more SCVs. So this could be a very strong all-in by the Terran. And let's see if this is going to work out. The first marine is out. The SCV is also now moving into the main from the Zerg as the spawning pool has finished, and some Zerglings will now be produced by the Zerg. But he has to hurry up, the first marine is coming forward. There is the other SCV. Indeed we do have a bunker being placed here by the Terran, and also a lucky kill here by him as he's taking out one drone. I believe that was the drone for the hatchery. So very aggressive move out here by the Terran, but we do see the Zerg now reacting with the Zerglings, getting a good surround. So this will be held off as the Zerg is nicely now leaving one Zerg behind, not a Zergling behind, to take care of the SCV here. And at the same time he's also moving out straight towards the map, trying to engage the reinforcements here by the Terran. So what an interesting open up here. We have a very aggressive move out by the Terran, very rarely seen. And let's have a look, this should be a defensive bunker now for the Terran as he's going for his factory. Yeah, all the marines have to retreat now. He's trying to micro the marine out of danger, but yeah, the Zerglings are slowly but steadily pouring here forward, and the marine needs to hurry up into the safety of the bunker, as the vulture should of course be able to take care of the Zerglings here. I believe he's going to be safe, he's going to make it, so lucky move out by him. And now another SCV has been snapped, but the Zerglings should of course be taken care of. Yeah, notice once again how low the SCV count is here for the Terran, as some SCVs have been snapped, some of them are not mining. So quite an interesting open up here, like I told you, very aggressive move out indeed, and more SCVs might fall as those SCVs have to come back towards the bunker, towards the safety. And yeah, more SCVs sadly do get dropped here for the Terran. In the meantime, the Zerg actually also deciding to expand here into this location, a very far expansion here by him, nicely hidden. But hold on, we actually might see the Terran lose his gas as well, as one SCV is repairing it. So good micro by both players, and yeah, another SCV might get killed, but no, both players actually very good into microing, and only one Zergling is now being left alive. So the vulture should be able to take care of this. So yeah, the aggression has stopped, and I really don't understand why the Zerg is placing his expansion here instead of next to his base, but then again I'm sure he has his reasons. And we also see a very nice tier 2 upgrade. We do see a spire, and also a sunken is getting ready for the Zerg. At the same time we see a starport now for the Terran. So quite an interesting build order indeed. No mass barracks for the Terran. He's going straight into starport. Perhaps he's expecting an attack with some Mutalisk. As he's now deciding to go for a starport, we might see some Wraiths, we might see some science vessels. Of course, science vessels always a good idea versus the Zerg to have. So things have settled down after an early aggression. Hold on, wait. Still see the Terran now attacking with a vulture, but there is a sunken out for the Zerg. Actually 2 sunkens for him, so very nice defensive gameplay here by the Zerg as the vulture is now heading towards the expansion point. But there is also a sunken here for the Zerg, so very good defensive gameplay. Let's see what exactly he's building from this starport. It is indeed Wraith, so Wraith in order to keep those Mutalisk at bay in case there will be some Mutalisk. And yeah, there's the spire that has been finished. As let's have a look if indeed the Zerg will be going for some Mutalisk. So quite a outstanding game we have here. Very different build orders. Finally the 2 Wraiths to make it here forward, and they should be able to snap some drones out of the Zerg, so very nice stuff. Perhaps the Zerg is going to put a sunken here into this location as well, just like he did into his main. Right now a lot of mining time is being cancelled, so a nice move out here by the Terran as he made it now to 17 workers versus the 14 from the Zerg. Also good map awareness by the Terran as he might try to expand into this location. The first Wraith is out, the Mutalisk should also be out. It's actually Scourges, and the Scourges might get a connection here towards the barracks. Yes, indeed, they will all just suicide into this one barracks. So no Mutalisk, actually the first Mutalisk are getting produced here for the Zerg. But interesting enough, he's going for Scourges. I believe he's expecting a drop or more harassment by the Wraith. We do indeed have cloaking ability, and this actually reminds me of Starcraft 2 once again. So the Terran plays it quite next to a Starcraft 2 strategy with some benches with cloak, and let's see if this is going to work out for him against Scourges, as the barracks still takes some damage here out of the Mutalisk. So quite an interesting game we have here in between them. Let's see how things will unfold, what's going to happen next as the Mutalisk do fly now over towards the main from the Terran. They might be lucky to snap yet another SCVs. There is a turret here. Second SCV might get killed here as well as he's going into factories. So we are going to be seeing him go for some mech build order, or some Goliaths, some tanks, some vultures could be the option here for the Terran. And the Scourges are also moving here forward, as we also see the Wraith into a very defensive gameplay here by the Terran. As yet another SCV will be snapped, but we do have now cloak, and the Wraith should be able to scare this off as there are no overloads here into this area. So the Mutalisk is taking quite some damage. The Wraith now all of a sudden a very good counter towards the air from the Zerg. So instead of going bio, we see the Terran being able to push this back with some Wraiths. In the meantime, there's another expansion here for the Zerg, and finally the Explorer barracks here will be snapped by the Zerg with those Mutalisk. Let's see if he's going to transition perhaps into some high risk. No, he's just going for some upgrades here, as this base is now nicely getting saved. Both players at 90 workers. The Terran still not deciding to expand, only now starting his command center into this location. And yeah, much more map awareness and much more map control here by the Zerg as he's flying over with his Mutalisk. And yeah, the Wraiths are now nicely getting cloaked. They are able to inflict quite some great damage here versus the Zerg. So finally the Spore has finished, so the Wraiths have to go for a different target. But yeah, still good engagement here by the Terran. He was able to snap an overlord and also dealt some damage towards the Scourges. So yeah, pretty good unit to have if you ask me versus the Zerg, as it could be very similar towards the Corsairs from the Protoss. And actually the Zerg is attacking here. Perhaps he thinks that there's not that much energy being left onto those Wraiths, but it's just 6 Mutalisk versus the Wraiths and some turrets, as now we have passed the 10-minute mark. So quite an interesting game different build orders here, and we actually see Goliaths now for the Terran. Of course, he's going into the Goliaths as he's expecting more and more of those Mutalisks. So of course the Goliaths will be the perfect counter towards all of the air from the Zerg, as the Zerg is playing very nicely, very defensively. Very soon he's adding more and more of those defenses, more and more of those Sunkens. So this will of course force the Terran to go into some siege tanks, if you ask me. Only with Goliaths, I don't know if it's going to work out versus so many Sunkens, as now finally at around the 11-minute mark the Terran has established his first expansion here onto this map, with that being guarded by the Goliaths here. And yeah, in the meantime the Zerg is just pretty much scouting a map, getting more and more information, but there's just one expansion here for the Terran into this location, and I believe he's going to try to secure it, of course, with more turrets, with more Goliaths. And let's see when or if he's actually deciding to move out. He's actually deciding to move out, I believe, into this location. So there's just two Sunkens here for him, and one Spore, and only one Mutalisk helping this expansion out. So this could be quite a good move out here for the Terran. Let's check if he has some upgrades. None of them yet, but vehicle plating is about to get finished, so the Goliaths will be more tankier as he's actually moving out. Let's see if he's going to be successful with this attack straight forward towards the Sunkens. He needs to hurry up as the Mutalisks are now flying over. So let's see what's going to happen here. The Goliaths of course will be able to kill lots and lots of those Mutalisks, but the real damage dealers will of course be the Sunkens. And the Terran tries to intercept, of course, the reinforcements. He's nicely sniping another Mutalisk here, and the overlords will also take some damage. So very nice anti-air force here of the Terran. This is able to take care of those flying units, and even one Mutalisk a little bit mismicroed here and immediately taken care of. So yeah, let's see the Mutalisk now reacting from the Zerg, going straight towards the base. There's only one turret defending here, so the Terran is actually getting forced to come back. Also some Goliaths attacking here, actually many Goliaths. So even the Wraiths are now coming forward, and sadly here for the Zerg needs to hurry up to fly back as fast as he can, or he's going to take more and more damage out of the units here. So a very nice move by the Terran with defenses, as he's able to snipe Mutalisk after Mutalisk, and now only getting pushed back. So a nice counter by the Zerg, but the Terran reacting very good with his Wraiths, with his Goliaths, being able to secure his expansion, and still both players at the same worker count. And let's see how things will continue here. Who is going to be the victor of this very interesting game? The Goliaths should of course have the advantage against the Mutalisk, but the Mutalisks are much faster, so they can be more abusive against the economy here from the Terran. And the Terran knows this, of course, as his Goliaths will be placed very close to that expansion. Yeah, in comes the Mutalisk once again. They should be able to snipe some SCVs once again, as yeah, in come the Wraiths. So very good defense here by the Terran versus the Mutalisk from the Zerg. And yeah, the Goliaths moving forward, dealing more and more damage, and even the Wraiths now should be able to take out this one, even two, second overall, but there are some Scourges here. So yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. The Terran once again deciding to move out. Perhaps he's going to try to take another expansion with his Goliaths. There are still no tanks for him, it's just mass Goliaths being produced. Quite an interesting strategy. Let's just see if this is going to work out. He's able to inflict good damage. The Zerg sadly not paying attention here. He's going to lose so many Mutalisks, as the Goliaths are just shooting nicely those rockets. And yeah, just dealing more and more damage, killing more and more of the units from the Zerg. And we might see indeed a transition into some upgraded Zerglings or some Hydralisks. Hydralisks should of course be the answer against so many Goliaths, as the Terran is now moving out with his forces, with his Goliaths. Quite tanky unit to have, and very good damage by those Goliaths. Let's have a look how much damage they have. 12 actually damage on the ground. I believe it's a little bit more than the Marines, as we once again see the Zerg now move out with his Zerglings, with his Mutalisks, inflicting more damage. The Terran is being caught a little bit off guard. He has to decide, is he going to come back to defend? But he has actually at home so many Goliaths. Even the CVs have to fight now, and he should be able to hold this as his main army is just moving here forward into this location, but of course the real target is going to be this location right here. But the Sunkans will finish here on time, so the Terran is still not opting to go for some tanks. He's just pure massing the Goliaths versus his opponent. Let's see if this is going to work out for him. Goliaths, quite a tanky unit, 125 HP, but more and more Sunkans are getting finished here for the Zerg. So the Terran still wandering around, still asking where exactly is he about to attack. As good defenses are also here by the Terran, but still only a 2 base Terran versus a soon to be a 4 base Zerg. So the advantage, if you ask me, is actually in favor for the Terran, as he was able to snap so many units here for the Zerg. So the Zerg struggling, you can see the supply is very low. Those Goliaths getting some good connections, some good kills versus the Mutalisk in the air, and even some overlords have been sniped as well. So this will, of course, if you ask me, force the Zerg to go for some high risk. And finally there it is, a very late high risk then, around the 60-minute mark, but the Zerg realizes this as the Terran stays into mass Goliaths. The high risk or even the lurkers should be, of course, the perfect counter towards all of those units, all of those Goliaths, and we do indeed see him walk forward with his units. I believe he's going to try to attack the expansion here very soon. And yeah, slowly but steadily those Goliaths are moving forward towards the expansion point. Still no tanks for him, just massive amounts of Goliaths. Let's have a look at the upgrades. 1 plate upgrades and 1 weapons have started now with the academy, so we might see even a transition into some Marines, into some Buyer. It could be, of course, a option for the Terran. He has some good map awareness, he's nicely patrolling the map, but the Zerg has some great defenses here with lots and lots of Sunkans. And let's see when exactly or if the Terran is going to commit here forward with his masses of those Goliaths against the macro-oriented Zerg. Let's have a look at his main. He's still at tier 2, so no tier 3 yet. 2 high-risk dens. Perhaps he just misclicked there, or perhaps he just wants more upgrades. And let's see when or if he's going to attack. And nice pickups here by the Terran as he's able to snipe yet another overlord. And yeah, let's see who is going to be able to do the first attacking move. By the looks of it, the Terran really wants to take the first expansions here from the Zerg, but they're so nicely defended till the scan goes out. So of course, if you ask me, he should of course go for some of his tanks. 2 command centers are also being placed by him, so he wants to expand all over the map. He has good map awareness, good map control, even taking an expansion here. And we do see indeed a move out here by the Terran with his Goliaths heading straight forward towards those Sunkans. And let's see if this is going to work out for him, as now the Mutalisk are coming over to attack as well. So Mutalisk with Goliaths, very rarely seen onto a Zerg versus Terran. Massive amounts of Goliaths indeed as they attack here. The Sunkans dealing more and more damage. And now the Mutalisk are trying, of course, to inflict damage as well, but so much. So many rockets have been thrown out. Still the Zerg is able to hold with his Sunkans, and he's actually being able to push back the Terran. So this is going to very likely force the Terran to go for some siege tanks, perhaps for some vultures, even some battle cruisers would be very nice to be seeing for him, as we soon will pass the 20-minute mark. So the Terran tried to be more aggressive, he tried to take out the expansion point. With that, the floodgates would have been open and he could have just went straight towards this expansion right here, but the Zerg did hold with 5 Sunkans, and even the Mutalisk were here to fend off the attack. So a great hold by the Zerg. The Terran licking his wounds, staying back, and let's see if he's indeed going to be transitioning to something else. We see him go for some factories, so it's still going to be mech for him, as the Zerg is also going for his tier 3. And finally we do see siege tank ability. So the Terran of course realizes that the Goliaths will stand no chance against so many Sunkans, so a much more tankier unit is needed as a tank to inflict splash damage towards those Sunkans and towards the high risk as well. So mech indeed going to be here the strategy for the Terran. And this one expansion is nicely mining here into this location, as the Zerg decides to play it very defensively. Perhaps he could move out with his Mutalisk to just search the map and perhaps take out some units. Some units are very fast in the air, and they could be very successful here into attacking the expansion point from the Terran. At the same time, this could also be a good targeting point, as there's just a couple of turrets here. And yeah, the Mute is just roaming now around. And let's have a look how this game is going to end, who is going to be the victor. The macro game from the Zerg actually looking very, very good. There's also many hatcheries, and you can see the production tab pretty much in favor for the Zerg, as we finally see a Deviler mount and Ultralist Den. So we're going to be going for the more stronger units here for the Zerg. Devilers much needed against those Goliaths, and the Ultralisk, of course, a much more tankier unit, very good against the Goliaths and the tanks from the Terran. So the Terran pretty much has to hurry up with his mass production. Still the same supply for both players, as the Terran might try once again to attack into the expansion point with just mass Goliaths. The Mute is finally, I believe the Zerg is going to do a great move here. He's going to snap the race. Now he's going to try to attack here into this location. It's pretty much an undefended location. So a very smart move here by the Zerg. You should have a great time here. There are no turrets. You should be able to snap so many SCVs here from the greedy gameplay by the Terran. So he has to move now very fast. The Goliaths are still on hold position, and now finally he's interacting, and he should be able to snap some SCVs here. The Terran has to retreat. There are no defenses here, just SCVs running for their life, as more and more Mutilus will be able to join the attack. Even some Scourges are attacking here, as now the Terran has dropped below 50 workers, and this one hatchery is also pretty much exposed. Some Hydras will be intercepted here by some Goliaths, as the Goliaths are now trying to save, of course, the base here. But yeah, like I told you, those Mutilus are much faster than the Goliaths. So we might see the Terran just pretty much abandoning the base and now head straight once again towards this expansion point. But we do have Ultralist now for the Zerg, and we still have mass Goliaths for the Terran. Is it going to be enough against so much Zerg? All of a sudden the Zerg is pretty much in favor here. He has more supply, still mass Goliaths for the Terran. But into the late game, I don't know if this strategy is going to work out for the Terran, even though the upgrades are pretty good. 1-to-1. Yeah, in comes the Zerg with his mix of units. Actually, we do have Mutalisk with Hydrisk on the ground, with Ultralisk in the back. The Goliaths stand their ground. They inflict good damage, but more and more is getting thrown here towards those Goliaths. They are trapped, so they have to fight. Yeah, the Ultralisk in front, and now even the Mutalisk are joining the attack. So the Goliaths will try to attack the Mutalisk, but in the end this is going to get cleared. So what exactly is the Terran going to be doing now, as so many units from the Zerg are still alive? We do see tanks now and Goliaths for him, as he's now transitioning to mass tanks with some vultures. So a nice strategy here for him. But the control of the map all of a sudden has shifted towards the Zerg, as now we even have some Zerglings with good upgrades. And remember, Adrenaline is also pretty much upgraded here, as we also see Defilers should be added very soon towards the Zerg. So I believe the Zerg is going to try to attack, do a full-on attack with some Defilers into this location. He's closing in towards being maxed out. He has such a great economy and such a great map control. And is it going to be enough, as the Terran has now shifted towards being more defensively here, as we slowly but steadily close towards the end of the game. So the Terran now staying back, turtling up into his main. Still a couple of rays just flying around, just checking if the Zerg is expanding all over the map. Yeah, I believe the Zerg is just going to regroup in the center of the map, and very soon we might see a full-on attack from the Zerg into the first, or into the newly established base here from the Terran. Yeah, but the Terran has so many tanks on the ground, so it's going to be very hard for the Zerg to attack. But actually the Terran might be the one moving out first, as he has 1-1 weapons upgrade. So the tanks, if they're nicely guarded by those Goliaths in the front and by the vultures, can be very deadly against the units from the Zerg, as they're pretty much splitted here all over the map, trying to get good control of the map. But the Terran has pretty much just massed all of his units together, clumping them up together and is launching very soon. I believe it's going to be a full-on attack as he pretty much scanned this area right here. Or is he going to go forward towards the lower right part? He should do this. Let's see. Some vultures just planting his mines. Some drones might get intercepted. And let's have a look who is going to be the winner of this very interesting game here, as the vultures will be able to take out the units here. And the Zerg actually feeling now confident to move forward. There's a small group of Ultralisk with some Zergers. The Zergers will of course melt towards the mines, and the Zerg needs to be careful. He has to clump up his two units together, just exactly the Terran does. In order to get a good surround, he might even try to drop some units towards those tanks right here, as the Zerg is now pretty much expanding all over the map. So the Terran has to react. He knows this. He is going for the newly established bases here on the lower right. So very smart move by him, as those newly bases are just starting to mine now. And there in comes the attack with the mines in the back, with the tanks in the front. A very good supply demand here by the Terran, 117 as he's moving forward, and the reinforcements also slowly but steadily moving forward for him. So let's see, indeed he's going to siege up and siege down, as he will be in range of the sun guns very soon. The units will take some damage here out of the mines. A very nice mine placement here, taking out some Ultralisk. So very smart move, and now the tanks finally are in reach of those sun guns. He just needs to be careful not to take damage out of the sun guns here, as more and more splash damage is being taken by the Zerg. We have a Defiler. Very soon we will be seeing some Dark Zone, but no, actually the tanks are able to take out the Defiler. So a very strong push here forward by the Terran with his siege tanks, as some Hydras will try to inflict some damage towards the Terran. The Zerg really has to clump up his units together, as his expansion is pretty much under siege. So he's trying to go forward towards the expansion point from the Terran. His Ultralisk are here in the front. His Hydra is already taking some damage. He's throwing pretty much everything he has against the Terran. The Terran reacting, coming back with his units. Yeah, there's so much Zerg here, but there's also so many tanks in the back, and they might get repaired by those SCVs. So the Zerg is now moving forward. He's attacking the command center, but the Terran comes in from the back. His reinforcements are there. The Ultralisk still tanking so much damage. Scourges are now even in the air, but the Zerg slowly but steadily loses more and more of his units, as the Terran is bringing his main army here forward to take care of this. So we are slowly but steadily closing towards the end of the game. It's still anyone's game. The economy from the Zerg is still strong. This Ash hatchery is still standing, but this is quite a scary army here by the Terran. 140 supply of the Terran, all maxed out almost towards mass mech indeed for him. But sadly the Zerg has pretty much so much control onto the map, as the Terran once again tries to move forward, and we still should be seeing a Dark Zone very soon here by the Zerg. And there it is. The Dark Zone will of course give more protectiveness towards his units, as he's now moving forward with his Hydrisk. And yeah, look at that, those Hydras so much more tankier into the Dark Swarm and much more resistant. But yeah, the Terran just keeps on pushing forward. The Zerg might need a Night Swarm very soon in order to connect his units, and yeah, there's so much production here by the Zerg. But the army is still strong for the Terran, as yeah, the Sangas are now even attacking the units, and we even have Ultras now moving forward. So the Zerg not abandoning here his base. The siege tanks aren't sieged up yet, and the Ultras are really dealing massive amounts towards those siege tanks. They're hitting really hard, and let's see what's going to happen. What the next moves are going to be. The Terran losing more and more of his units, as more and more of those Ultras are now moving forward and attack the units left and right. Yeah, very soon we're going to be going for the end of the game. It looks like the Terran has the slight advantage here, but the Zerg just throwing out his strong units versus the tanks and versus the vultures. And yeah, more and more damage is being taken here by the Terran. He's dropping below 100 of his supply. Still the Zerg has the economic advantage. He's just mining with so many units all over the map. Some of them have been forgotten here, and now we even have Zerglings on the ground. Yet the siege tanks are pushing here forward. But the Zerg seems to be all over the map. Even the bases from the Terran aren't mining now, as some Zerglings while moving forward should be able to deal damage towards the tanks, as the tanks now deal splash damage towards themselves. And there are not that many units being left alive here for the Terran. There are some attacks happening here into the middle of the map, as the SCVs will be intercepted by the units from the Zerg. So the Zerg nicely multitasking all over the map, as he's just going to mass some units here into defending the structures there as well. And he has some great control all over the map with his units. And in the end, I believe he's going to be able to clear this out, and with that he might be able to take the game. Let's have a look at the upgrades. 3-2, and he's nicely doing a great job here. Tanks also nicely upgraded 1-2, but in the end this will be cleared. And with that, I believe the Zerg might have done it here. Very outstanding gameplay here by him, but the Zerg now just has so much map awareness, so many bases all around the map, and a great macro game indeed by him, as he's able to push out with his units, and also being able to cancel this one expansion right here. We don't have a Guardian attempt, as the Terran sits back, tries to of course defend his bases, but the Ultra is so much tankier and strong here. But sadly for the Terran, he's actually not mining now, so this is a main issue for him. He still has a pretty good mineral account and gas account, very low, but in the end he's not mining. And if you look at the base, if you look at the map, there's so many bases here for the Zerg all around the map, and a much more favorable position now here for the Zerg, as he's able to produce so many units, and even going for 14 drones now, so closing in towards the 70 drones. Very nice game here. Actually the Terran is mining from this base, but this base alone versus so many mining Zerg bases, and I believe the Zerg might have done it here. Let's have a look. He's going to focus his units towards the last push very soon versus his opponent. We're about to find out when exactly the last push is going to happen here. His economy at 70, almost 80 drones now. It's going to be very deadly if he's clumping up his units together, and if he's deciding to attack. Let's see when or if he's going to decide to attack. Still some action happening here with some small units, but as you can see at the minimap, the control of the map is pretty much in favor of the Zerg. So I believe he's just going to wait to focus, to regroup his units into the middle of the map perhaps, and then just launch a full-on attack towards the newly established bases here from the Terran. That's exactly what he's doing. He's going straight towards this base right here with some Zerglings, inflicting good damage. And let's see, he's also having a good control in the middle of the map, and more units are getting produced, more are getting spreaded. And you can see actually some units even getting some long distance mining here, interesting enough, by the Zerg, as he has taken yet another base, and he's just sending out wave after wave of those Zerglings towards the newly established bases from the Terran. Yeah, still the Terran holds. He has the high ground, he has those Proleagues, and he's able to inflict good damage, but he needs to hurry up with his economy, as even some overlords are flying over here for the Zerg. And yeah, some lurkers are also getting produced here by the Zerg. But yeah, the Terran nicely defending, inflicting some good damage. The Zerg still keeps on sending small waves here towards the Terran instead of sending masses. So yeah, let's see for how long the Terran can hold, as those Ultras are of course much stronger, and the massive amounts of Ultras now moving forward towards the newly established base from the Terran. They're very tanky, they're very strong, and yet another base has been pretty much cancelled here by the Zerg versus his opponent. Yeah, the Terran still has some units, but it's just vultures, and of course they will stand no chance against so many Ultras on the ground. And yeah, lots and lots of bases pretty much now in control by the Zerg. And let's see for how long this game is going to continue, as the economy is going to be in shambles very soon here by the Terran. He's trying to do an attack, but there's so many Sunkans here. But the Zerg nicely playing here with a great defensive gameplay, taking care of his expansions. And yeah, still some high risk already produced, and indeed now we have the GG. So of course in the end the Terran realized that the map was pretty much in control of the Zerg, and the Zerg, with a very nicely and patient gameplay here, he was able to take this game. So quite an interesting game, aggressive early game by the Terran, and a very interesting strategy indeed. Mass Goliaths sadly didn't work out for him. He did try to transition into some tanks and vultures, but it was a little bit too late, as we did have those Ultra-Risk, and of course the Ultra-Risk on the late game with the Defilers, a much stronger unit. Actually, Ultra-Risk with Zerglings into the late game, a very strong counter towards any Terran. Let's just check the stats very quickly, as I'm going to be clicking left and right. A quite interesting game. I don't think it was a pro game. You can see it for the APM, it was quite low, but yeah, in the end a very interesting game. Glads, very interesting to have. Was the perfect counter towards the Mutalisk in the air, but in the end the transition was real by the Zerg. He went for those Ultralisk and Zerglings and Hydelisk and Lurkers. And in the end the macro game from the Zerg was just way too strong versus the Terran. Still an interesting game. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Tommy signing out.